Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about stem changing verbs in the present tense. In order to understand this video, you need to know how to conjugate regular verbs in the present tense already. I have a video about that which I can link in the description box for you. Alright, let's get started. We already discussed what the stem of the verb is in the last video. To find the stem of the verb, you need to drop the last two letters of the verb. That is the AR, ER, IR. So let's take escuchar, for example, which means to listen. To find the stem of this verb, you need to cross out the last two letters, the A and the R, and you get escuch, the stem. Now, for regular verbs, all you have to do is add the specific conjugate ending and you're done. The stem doesn't change at all. You don't need to do anything else. But in these verbs, the stem does change because they're called stem changing verbs. So the stem does change except in the nosotros form. Except nosotros. After you figure out how the stem changes, the process is the same as a regular verb. You just add the conjugate endings. Now here we're going to talk about three types of stem changes. We're going to talk about E to IE stem changes, O to UE stem changes, and E to I stem changes. The process for conjugations is the same for all of them, so I'm only going to explain it once with the E to IE examples, but we will still go over examples with the other changes. Alright, let's get started with E to IE stem changes. For this type of stem change, let's take the verb preferir, for example. This means to prefer. So the first step is finding the stem of the verb. So we cross out the last two letters, the I and the R, to get the stem prefer. But then we see that this is a stem changing verb and the E is supposed to change to an IE. In this case, it's the second E that changes to an IE. So we substitute an IE instead of the E over there, and we leave the rest of the stem same, and then we end up with the changed stem of prefiere. Now this is the word we're going to add into each of the boxes of the conjugation table. So for yo, we have yo prefiero, tú prefieres, él, ella, or usted prefiere. Now nosotros, we go back to the original stem prefer. So for nosotros, we have nosotros preferimos. And we return back to the change stem for ellos, ellas, and ustedes, so we get prefieren. Notice how the stem only changes in these boxes. The yo, tú, él, ella, usted, and ellos, ellas, ustedes. When you outline these boxes, you get the shape of a boot, which is why these verbs are also called boot verbs. Let's look at another example of an E to IE stem change. Let's use the verb querer. This means to want. Okay, so the first step is finding the stem. So we cross out the E and the R, the last two letters, to get quer, the stem. Now the E over here is supposed to change to an IE. So we substitute the E with an IE, and we end up with the changed stem of quier. Now, because this is an ER verb, it has the conjugate endings of o, es, hemos, en. So we add this changed stem to each of the boxes in the conjugate table. So you get yo quiero, tú quieres, él, ella, or usted quiere. For nosotros, we go back to the original stem, so we have nosotros queremos, and ellos, ellas, and ustedes quieren. Next, let's look at O to UE stem changes. Let's use the verb dormir for this. This means to sleep. So the first thing we're going to do is find the stem by crossing out the last two letters, the I and the R, and we end up with dorm. Now, according to the stem changing, the O over here is supposed to change to a UE, so we substitute that and we leave the rest of the stem same. So we end up, wait, let me write that properly for a second. We end up with the stem duerm. Now, because this is an IR verb, we have the conjugate endings of o, es, e, imos, en. So we add this new changed stem to each of the boxes in the conjugate table. You get yo duermo, tú duermes, él, ella, or usted duerme. For nosotros, we go back to the original, so we get nosotros dormimos, and we return to the changed one for ellos, ellas, and ustedes duermen. Now, unfortunately, the only way to know if verbs are stem changes or not is to memorize them, but I can link a document of the most common stem changing verbs down below so you can familiarize yourself with them. Lastly, let's look at E to I stem changes. We're going to use the verb pedir for this example. This means to order. So step 1, find the stem. We do this by crossing out the last two letters, the I and the R, and we end up with the stem bed. Now the E over here is supposed to change to an I. So we substitute the E with an I, and we leave the rest the same to end up with the stem pid. Now, because this is an IR verb, we have the conjugations o, es, e, imos, en. So now we add this new stem into each of the boxes of the conjugate table except the nosotros form. So it's yo pido, tú pides, él, ella, or usted pide. Nosotros, we use the original stem, so nosotros pedimos. And ellos, ellas, or ustedes piden. And that's all you need to know about stem changing verbs in the present tense. If this video helped, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. And lastly, I have linked a practice as well as a list of common stem changing verbs in the description box to help you practice. Good luck studying, and bye!